So, what time is it? It's 18, okay, so it's 6:45 roughly. And I'm just had a thought, regarding the kind of the situation, um, that I kind of talked about, that I touched on last night, in a bit of a new light. And that is, I've been watching some YouTube videos for various different creators regarding music marketing, or how you want to go about that. And what I think the main takeaway from it has been is that, like everything in this world, we get a very interesting view from what gets through into the press, right? You don't usually hear about people who have slaved away for 7 years of their life without anything and then they suddenly hit it big as like having done that. It's just, oh, this artist is popped up onto the scene and you just kind of assume, oh, they're newish, you know what I mean? But, what I figured out is that, and this kind of all goes back to another Olivia Rodrigo thing, in that I saw a few weeks ago, maybe not a few weeks, maybe a week ago, that something to do with the fact that she's the first ever artist to have two different tracks from her debut album on the Billboard Hot 100, like right on top of each other or whatever. Something like that. I don't know the specifics. But what I realized is that in the moment, that kind of thing was very impressive to me. It's like, oh, you managed to do this, and it's your debut album. But what I realize now, having looked at it, is that doesn't actually mean anything. Because I should not be impressed by that particular statistic. Now, there are other parts of her and her career that may be impressive in their own right, but you shouldn't be impressed by that particular thing, because the quote-unquote impressive part is the debut album. But the fact that it's her debut album really doesn't come down to, I think, the character or the makeup of the music itself or the skill therein, either on her part or on the part of her producer. What it actually comes down to is pure luck, right? Why do most people not have this happen with their debut album? Because most people aren't lucky enough to get their debut album and have this much press and this much hype around it. She's incredibly lucky in that her debut single and her debut album were like the biggest fucking thing in the history of the world. So, that's not something I should be impressed by. Rather, what I should take away from this, right, is the idea that I should continue to work on what I'm working on until I feel like I want to stop. Because this entire thing should be based solely around me, not some external sense, right? Because, on the one hand, right, the more shit you put out there, the more likely you are to get a golden turn somewhere, right? It just gets you lucky. It's just her fucking amazing luck that she managed to make it happen. She managed to have it be her first fucking single and her first album. But of course, having thought about this, right, you get this idea of the one-hit wonder and what separates them from the people who like make one good song and build off that momentum. And I think this can be seen very clearly in the career of Lil Nas X, in that this guy made Old Town Road. It was like the biggest song literally ever, if you're going by how long things stay on the Hot 100. And then after that, everybody was just kind of like, oh yeah, he's the Old Town Road guy. But then he made fucking Montero, and it's another #1 hit, and now he's making Industry Baby, which is, I think, a top 10 hit right now. And so what it really comes down to is the bands that go out there and are one-hit wonders are the ones that, and I don't mean to say this in a demeaning way because it's not entirely their fault, but they're the ones that perhaps don't have such a good grasp on how to use their momentum properly, right? And especially now that in this day and age with the internet and the democratization of music and the barriers to entry being so much lower, having a good grasp on marketing and how to carry your momentum forward is something that's a lot more important nowadays, because beforehand it was kind of just what gets picked up by the record labels and I don't know about all that. But the music industry today is a lot more based on you and what you're doing. And as I've said, Lil Nas X, Montero Hill, is a genius in marketing, which is why he was able to take one really good song, which, by the way, nobody talks about any songs from the album that he released that song on after the single went viral. He turned one really good song into an album that nobody talks about, and then he was like, oh shit, I guess I still have to utilize my fucking shit, my fucking momentum. So he made Montero Call Me By My Name, in which he utilized the same strategies that were beforehand, right? The whole make controversy and remix and all that good stuff. But what he did, right, is he worked his ass off in making music for 16 months, and good for him that he was lucky enough to get his big break only 16 months in instead of, say, 13 years. But, you know what I'm trying to say? I don't know. I'm not gonna concluding these things, I'm just gonna go with that.